Hi, let's look at completing the square together. We have some steps for that. The first thing we want to do is take the coefficient of x squared, which we'll call a, and divide everything by that. Step 2, we want to move the constant term to the right. Step 3, we want to take the coefficient of x, which we'll call b, divide that by 2 and square it, and then add it to both sides of the equation to balance it out. Step 4, we want to write it as a perfect square, which will take the form x plus b over 2, all of that squared, equal to some number, and then lastly we can solve for x by taking the square root of both sides. First, let's look at just finding the missing piece we need. First thing we notice is x squared, well the coefficient of that is 1, so we don't need to divide by 1. And the constant's already on the right. So we can jump right into our third step, which is taking the coefficient of x, which is 6 here, dividing by 2 and we get 3. 3 squared we get 9, and that is our missing piece. Let's look at another example of that. Here the coefficient of x squared is 2, so we do need to go ahead and divide everything by 2. The constant is already on the right, that green 1/2. Next, we want to go ahead and take the coefficient of x, that's 7, divide it by 2 and square it. So we get 7 squared is 49, 2 squared is 4, and that is our missing piece. So that's just doing the first steps. Now let's look at doing all the steps together. So here we have x squared plus 6x minus 7 equals 0, and we want to solve for x. First thing we want to do is let's label them with those same colors. So our a value is 1, b value is 6, and our c value is negative 7. Then we can go ahead and do our steps. The coefficient of x squared is just a 1, so we don't need to divide by that. We can leave that alone. But we do want to move the constant term 7 to the right. Then we can go ahead, we already did this step, but let's put it together here. 6 divided by 2, we get 3. 3 squared, we get 9. And we got to add that to both sides. Then we can simplify that a little bit. Adding the 7 and the 9, we get 16. Now we're ready to go ahead and write the perfect square. And that's going to be in the form x plus b over 2. B over 2 is 6 over 2. So we get 3. X plus 3 squared equals 16. And woo! We got the perfect square. Our square is completed. But we still need to go ahead and solve this. We got to take the square root of both sides. We take the square root to cancel out that square because they're inverse operations. And we get x plus 3 is equal to plus or minus 4. Then we take that 3 and subtract it from both sides. And we get x equals negative 3 plus or minus 4. And here we got to write it out twice. X equals negative 3 plus 4. So we get 4 minus 3, we get 1. And then the other one, x equals negative 3 minus 4, we get x equals negative 7. And those are our two answers. Let's look at another one. Here, again, we're going to go through the steps. We already did the first pieces, but we can go through the whole thing now. We want to go ahead and divide everything by 2. Then we want to move that constant term to the right. And then we're going to take that coefficient of x, the 7, divide it by 2 and square it. And then we got to go ahead and add that with the 1/2. So 1/2 becomes 2 over 4. 2 over 4 plus 49 over 4, we get 51 over 4. Now we're ready to write it as a perfect square. And again, it's x plus b over 2, all that squared. So we get the 7 over 2 inside the parentheses there. And yes, we've done it again. We've completed the square. But we still need to continue. Right? We got to go ahead, take the square root of both sides, cancel those out. We get x plus 7 over 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 51 over 2. Then we subtract 7 over 2 from both sides, and we get our final answer. Thanks for watching. If you want to see an animation of completing the square, click on the video there.